the School of Communication and Arts. And in other words, I'd like you to just think of me as your personal research assistant during the course of your studies here at Regent University. Our librarians each have a specific area of responsibility and subject expertise to each of the schools within the university. And mine is to the School of Communication and Arts. So I serve students within the theater program, cinema, television, doctoral students in the comm school, and journalism school as well. But I cover all of those bases, and this is the third year now we've been teaching this particular class on library resources for THE700. This will be an add-on or an extension of the material that you've already learned. Hopefully those of you who have already taken the library Blackboard course, that is a requirement for completing your program of study here at Regent. If you haven't signed up for that already, we are a little bit past the typical drop ad period, but it is a $50 charge registration fee for that cost, for that class, and you can sign up through your academic advisor, get their signature on that. We can still get you into that class, no problem. You have until the end of the semester to complete that course, and that Blackboard course really goes into much more detail on the catalog, a couple of basic databases, the journal finder, how to avoid plagiarism, and how to use certain other web tools as well. But as I mentioned, today's class we're going to be focusing on certain specific databases related to THE700 that I thought would be of particular help to you. If you have any questions during the course of today's seminar, just feel free to raise your hand, let me know. I'm happy to repeat things. But first, I'd just like to open us in a word of prayer this morning before we get started. So if you will, please join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you for this beautiful day. Lord, we thank you for your graciousness in protecting all of these students and protecting the campus over the weekend from Tropical Storm Hannah. Lord, I just pray that you would help us this morning to focus our attention on the topics that we'll be learning this morning. Lord, I just pray that you would use me to help illustrate these tools and encourage these students to give them a extra boost of confidence in using library resources. And Father, I just pray that you would speak through me during this next hour. And we pray these things in your name. Amen. Thank you. Well, I have a couple of handouts here that I'll be pointing to during the course of this hour here. The first one here, if you also want to follow along on our PowerPoint here, the top of the handout, I first and foremost want to emphasize that all of the librarians, not just me, are here for your help. Anytime you have a question about accessing a particular journal, using a database, finding a book, doing interlibrary loan, we are here to help you. And there are several ways that you can get in touch with us, certainly by telephone. For our distance students, we do have a toll-free number at 888-249-1822. Of course, you can also get in touch with us by email at reference@regent.edu. We'll usually respond that same day. If it's over the weekend, it might be a couple of days lag time. We also have an instant messenger account at Regent U Library. That's available through AOL, Google Talk, MSN, and Yahoo. So if you're an IM user, feel free to add us to your buddy list, and you can get in touch with us that way as well. That information, as well as the hours for the library and the library reference desk, are at the top of your handout here. Library is open until midnight every night. The reference desk is open until 10 p.m. During the week. We also have weekend hours. On Saturday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and the librarian is there until 4 p.m. On Sunday, we have reference desk hours, but it is a graduate assistant who is there, not a librarian. The graduate assistant can usually help troubleshoot some real basic problems, but if you want to do some more in-depth research, I do recommend coming during the week or on a Saturday, or even better yet, getting in touch with me personally. Your ComArts librarian, that's kind of my handle. You can contact me by phone or by email. I'm at 226-2985 is my office number. jritterbush@regent.edu. And I also have my own IM account at ComArts Librarian. You can get in touch with me at any of those methods and set up a research appointment from as short as 15 minutes to 90 minutes. Again, I'm your personal research assistant, so please feel free to use that service to the maximum of that potential there. And so that information is also on your handout right there at the top. Now, a couple of the resources that I want to touch on this morning include some websites and databases that I have bookmarked at a social bookmarking website called delicious.com. Some of you maybe have used that previously. It's kind of a long URL, but it's a path that will take you specifically to the resources that will be of most value, I think, to this class, some of which we'll be touching on this morning. Yes, ma'am?
Are the dots on the handout, we don't use those, just type it the way it is up there?
Exactly. The way it appears here. Let's see, are you talking about like the HTTP?
No.
No.
Like in between delicious, there's some dots probably for pronunciation. I don't know, but they're just cute dots.
Okay.
So, never mind.
Okay. I'm not seeing that on my copy. Okay. It's just delicious.com. Oh, you're looking at DEL. I'm sorry. Yeah, that will also work. That's another variant of the same address. Or just use delicious.com. Both will take you to the same spot. That's just changed in the last few months, I think. /ComArtsLibrarian /THE700 plus databases. And that'll pull up a tiny little list of databases that will be most helpful to this course. I'm also going to switch over here to the library website and just spend a couple of minutes talking about the resources available from the library homepage. This is at www.regent.edu/general/library. Again, our Blackboard course goes into some of these topics in more detail. So if you haven't taken that already, please do that. It's to your benefit to get that out of the way earlier in the semester rather than at the very end. But that Blackboard course will go into more detail on some of these research tools that you'll be using, I think, pretty frequently over the course of this semester and semesters ahead. Tools like the library catalog to find books or videos or even play scripts. Our databases, you would use the databases to find articles from scholarly journals, popular magazines, and in some cases electronic books as well. We have a separate link for ebooks that narrows that down just a little bit to those ebooks I mentioned a moment ago. The full text journal finder, that's a very important tool. In fact, I'm going to demonstrate that just briefly here because that question actually did come up by email for the benefit of our distance students in particular. This journal finder, if you haven't used this maybe in your undergrad institution or here previously, this journal finder basically acts as a finding tool to find out which databases have the full text of a particular magazine or journal title. And you can do a search on here, even just using the title of the journal, not the title of the article. There is a difference. And I'll type in here drama review as an example since that question came up here. And any titles that match those keywords of drama review will show up here in the journal finder. At the bottom of the list here I have TDR, drama review. That's one of the sources I know listed in your syllabus that at least some of you are using. And we have several different databases that provide access to TDR for different periods of time. You'll notice here we do have access to JSTOR, Arts and Sciences 3. That provides access going back to 1988, but only up to the year 2002. I think the assignment in question, or the article in question that came up this weekend was from 2006. So that narrows down a little bit some of the databases that will work for that particular article from 2006. You can see here MIT Press Journals, EBSCOhost EJS. We have a little duplication here. I'm not exactly sure why, but that comes up to the present. And then Project Muse. And all of these databases should be accessible whether you're on campus or off campus. I'll go ahead and actually click on this link for Project Muse. And we'll get an authentication prompt here. You'll see this again, on campus or off campus. And all I need to do is just leave that first box checked indicating I'm a Regent University student and plug in my Regent ID and password. This will be the same username and password you use to access Blackboard or your email, so should be no difference there. If you have any technical problems getting past this point, please contact the Library Reference Desk. We'll be happy to help you navigate those rapids. But after I've authenticated here, now I'm getting into the drama review and a list of previous issues and the current issue here. I can click on any of these links View spring 2006, for example, and then view a list of the table of contents for that specific issue. And you'll see for each of these articles, I've got a little bit of a citation here, the author and the title of the article appearing first, and then, of course, a link to access the article in PDF format, as well as subject headings and an abstract, a summary of just what that article is about. And I'll scroll down here a little bit and just click on one of those. And the PDF, if you're ever given an option between PDF and an HTML copy of the article, the PDF is usually the better way to go, in that you'll get more detailed information, including page numbers, any pictures, charts or graphs that might be included in the article. That will almost always show up in the PDF version. The HTML, it gets a little dicey. So given a choice between those two options, the PDF is the better way to go. And as soon as I click OK here, that's going to close on me. That's happened before on this computer. But any questions about using the Journal Finder, that's covered again in the Blackboard course. But because that's come up for a couple of students in this class, I wanted to just spend a little extra time on that and make sure we had address some of those concerns. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In the academic journal assignments that Scott posted for us, we have links to the Muse site. The
Okay.
Muse
Sure.
Site. And when I've tried it before, it asked for a password.
Username and password? Okay.
On the Muse site. So is that something that we need to know, or should we get to that some other way? Or
Well, I might need to take another look at that link going into the Project Muse database to make sure that it is what we call proxied correctly. It includes some other information, basically to go through that authentication process I showed just a moment ago. So the URL's maybe a little bit different than perhaps what's in the Blackboard course.
May I
Yeah,
say
sure.
that if you cannot access it through mine, because I might have some permissions that you don't then do exactly the way that John is suggesting, and you will still get the same article in the same way access through Reach.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the default way, and it's always going to work.
Yeah, yeah. It should always work. Yeah, and definitely if that doesn't work, do let us know that. Yeah, at the reference desk. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a couple people have said
Okay.
the same thing.
Yeah.
It's sporadic. Some people
Okay.
are able to, some people aren't.
Okay.
But the way that John suggested should work.
okay.
All right. Great question. Thank you. Yeah. Well, with that, having demonstrated the Journal Finder, I'm going to take just a step back again to the library homepage and talk in a little bit more length about another link here that shows up currently on the right side of the page under the subject links here. We've got pages that are designed specifically for the various schools, graduate programs here at Regent University. And there's one, of course, for communication and arts that I've customized here, again, with my contact information at the top. I also have some of those delicious bookmarks, which I've linked to on your handout. So if you're ever looking for websites, maybe a little bit off the beaten path in different topics, this tag cloud represents a list of those websites. There's even a link here toward the bottom here of excuse me, websites specifically for THE700 that you could click on and view not just a list of databases, but other helpful theater resources. I've got a pretty broad tag cloud here on a variety of topics within comm arts, including gaming and manga, graphic novels, for example, other types of topics. Feel free to just maybe peruse that at your leisure here. But what I'd like to focus on this morning is this link here in the middle for the databases in communication and arts. And we'll spend most of our time springboarding from this particular page. Regent University has access to over 100 databases in its collection, which is great, except that can be kind of an overwhelming number if you're not working with the databases on a daily basis. So what I've tried to do is take a subset of those 100 databases and put the ones that are most relevant to comm arts on this particular page. And I've even broken it down further by these categories, such as the starting resources, journal articles, news and events, which would be mostly newspaper type of databases, most valuable for finding reviews from the past from newspapers, and then even a section on streaming videos. And the page continues down a little bit here. What I'd like to demonstrate this morning are a few specific databases, starting with, well, I'll mention a few of these here in the starting resources, actually, just briefly. Some of these resources we have include the Internet Broadway database. That's a free resource, ibdb.com. You can use that to find information on casting for Broadway productions. It's published by the Broadway League, which is an authoritative source. It's one that has been vetted. It's not just Joe Schmo running a website from his basement, but it is an authoritative source, which is why I've included it on this list. Kind of its partner, which you may be even more familiar with, is this Internet Movie Database, which is maintained by Amazon.com and provides similar information on casts and production information for movies. There's some other starting resources here, including the Gale Virtual Reference Library. If you're looking for biographical information on a particular actor, be they on stage or on film, that Gale Virtual Reference Library is a great starting point. It'll list a complete list of the works in which that actor or actress has appeared in, and will also include some of the articles which reference the work of that particular actor. Now, one resource I wanted to take a little extra time to demonstrate here this morning and get into in depth is the Play Index. And I know some of you may be looking for a particular play to focus your paper on for this semester. I'm going to go ahead and click on that link here. I'll get a little information here about the Play Index. It includes over 30,000 plays going back to 1951. Yes, sir? Yes.
How did you get to the link just before that?
Okay. How did I get to this page? Yes, exactly. Okay. Sure. I'll take one step further back here. I'll go to the library homepage and click on Communication and Arts, and then Databases in Communication and Arts. There is another way to get there too from the longer 100 list of databases, but I won't burden you with that particular path. I think this is a little bit more direct given the two. Play Index then appears near the top of, or in that list of starting resources here. Again, it actually goes back to, I said 1951, back to 1949, and contains a list of play titles and authors and sources for those different plays. And we'll get logged in here in just a moment. Everyone doing okay so far if you're following along on Play Index? Okay. We're probably hitting it all at once here, so it's taking a little extra time to come up. Here we go. All right. Play Index is really a pretty basic search form here in that you can search by play title or author. You can search by subject or even keywords and genre, for example. You can also search by the makeup of the cast, which could be a benefit to you as well if you're looking for maybe a very small production to recreate later this semester, maybe like a two-person cast, for example. You can also limit it to different audiences, be they juvenile, young adult, or adult, for example. I'm just going to click here on 2 for the total cast size, limit to adult. And actually I'm going to also demonstrate what some of these genre categories. One that jumped out at me, you've got morality plays as one, also worship programs. Maybe if you're looking for something for a production at the church that you're at, you could keep Play Index in mind as well and look for some of those titles. I'll click on Start here. And I'll get a list of results here. 69 records found for worship programs. These are adult-oriented and not in the explicit sense, certainly, but with 2 in the total cast. And starting right up here at the top, you'll see real basic citation information, including the author and the title of those theatrical productions. That's just a starting point. And if you want to view more detailed information about a play, the way to do that would be to click on the link of the title. I'll pick on this one here for Lazarus Come Out, and now I'll see a little more information come up about that particular production. It includes an abstract of the play. It tells me the casting. There are 2 men involved in the casting for this production, and the play subjects as well. Yes, ma'am.
But to get the actual play, you'd have to keep going on that link there at the bottom.
Exactly. Yeah, you're exactly on the right track here, and I want to emphasize that here. This is not the full text of the play. This is only a starting point. It's a finding aid to find the titles of plays that meet certain criteria, maybe a subject or genre, as I just demonstrated, a cast, a type of cast makeup. But this is not the full text of the play, obviously. This is a very important link on this citation here. Find this play in a book. I'm going to click on that link. And now what I'll see within Play Index is some more information about where this play appears. This appears in a compilation, it looks like, of Mr. Cron's works. The title of that book is actually Washed Any Feet Lately, published by Baker's Plays in the year 1975. You'll need to make a note of that, copy that, write that down so you can search for that book in other ways. Yes, sir? Yeah.
Would this be the actual citation that we would have been the author from, correct? Or close, or possibly closer to that?
That's a great question, because I think you would, in your bibliography using MLA format, if you get the play from this particular book, as I expect you would, yes, you would be citing this particular book using MLA format and referencing the exact work within that compilation. Very good question. Yes?
I know Samuel French doesn't want this to be involved, but are they going to get plays online for students? Well, I'll tell you, that's what we need.
Sure. What I'd like to demonstrate is what you can do with this citation here. This is obviously just a starting point, so if you'll give me a moment, I'm going to switch back to my PowerPoint here, and we'll talk about actually how you can find a play script using that book citation. First method would be to actually search the library catalog by the title of the book, and I'll demonstrate that in a moment. The other option is to search our catalog on a keyword search by the play title. There is an outside chance that some plays will be included in other anthologies that maybe Play Index hasn't picked up on just yet. Maybe they haven't caught up with that fact. So there are a couple ways to search the library catalog, which I'll try to demonstrate here in just a moment. You'd asked about online access to full-text play scripts. We have a brand new resource as of this summer called 20th Century North American Drama that I'll be showing in just a few minutes here. And that provides about 1,400 theatrical productions, full-text play scripts published in North America, and a lot of other details. I'll demonstrate that in a few minutes. The interface is a little clunkier than even I would like to deal with as a librarian. So I'm happy to help you if you have any questions about using that resource. If you're looking for a play, I'm happy to help with that. Finally, the last option, if all else fails, if we don't have a play in our catalog or in this particular database, 20th Century North American Drama, we do have interlibrary loan available to you, and we can get those plays from other libraries. Usually in about a week, we can get books from other libraries. The system that we use to request those materials is called Iliad. And I'll try to save a little time here at the end to demonstrate setting up an Iliad account. There's no charge for that. If you're an on-campus student, like I said, we can get books from other campuses within about a week. Articles usually within 24 to 48 hours, so an even quicker turnaround time in most cases. If you're a distance student, your privileges for interlibrary loan are a little bit different. You can still get articles from other campuses within a quick turnaround time of 24 to 48 hours. For borrowing books, it's a little bit different for distance students. We can mail Regent University books to you and at no cost. The only cost to you as a distance student would then be to pay for the shipping cost to mail those books back to Regent. However, for distance students, we cannot get books from, say, Old Dominion or University of Virginia or other libraries and then route them back to you. The turnaround time with the U.S. Mail, or UPS, I should say, is just too long to do that. So the privileges are a little bit different there for distance students. I'm going to switch back here to my web browser, and we'll do another basic search here. Actually, I'll scratch that. We'll do an advanced search. We'll go back to that advanced search form, which has the more complete options here for cast information and so on and so forth. I'll do one other search here just to give you a feel for the scope and ways that you can use Play Index. I was curious, I did this search actually last year, looking for plays that have been produced on the Iraq War, and I'll just uncheck everything else. Keep it wide open here on the casting and the audience, but just do a search on the subject of Iraq War and click Start. And at this point last year, when we taught this class, we had only 3 records that came up in Play Index, and now we're up to 8, and I imagine that's going to continue to grow in the years to come. So these are 8 theater productions that have been produced on that particular subject. Again, if you click on any of these links for the play title, you'll view additional information, a summary of the play abstract, and other subject headings that can be a helpful springboard to other plays, maybe on related topics. Maybe, for example, if you wanted to find plays on African American soldiers, this would be a way of finding those subject headings and bouncing off from one record and going on to other related plays. Again, the link to find this play in a book appears at the bottom of the record. I'll click on that link, and this appears in a book titled Humana Festival 2005, published by Broadway Play Publishing. I'm going to take a few minutes to demonstrate how to find this play in our catalog. We'll see if it shows up in here. I'm going to search on Humana Festival 2005 within the library catalog. I'll open up another tab here. And again, go to the library homepage as my starting point. Here's the link to the library catalog. And in this case, I'm going to do a title search. I know exactly the book title that I'm interested in finding. And we'll look for Humana Festival 2005 and click Submit here. We'll see if that particular volume is in our collection. We've got several others, but not the 2005 yet, unfortunately, in this case. But that would be the method for finding an anthology or a book title. I could also try another variation of searching the catalog. I'm back to Play Index. Now I'm looking at the actual play title, Moot the Messenger in this case. And we'll just see, I'll do a keyword search. And you'll notice I'm putting Moot the Messenger in quotation marks. I'm looking for that as a phrase. I'm looking for those 3 words together in that exact order. I'm going to do a keyword search this time just to cast a little broader net and see if Moot the Messenger, maybe on a slim chance, shows up in another anthology. That's a pretty new play, just published in the last couple of years, so I didn't expect it would show up in this keyword search, but that's another way that you can search for play scripts in our catalog, a print copy, if you will. Let's see here. I'll go back here to advanced search form here, and I'm going to use a little different example, one that I know will show up in another one of our databases here that I'll demonstrate in just a moment. And that is, I'm going to look for this particular play by Thornton Wilder. I know the play title is Flight into Egypt. I'll click on Start. And I get several similar references here, but here's the one for Thornton Wilder. It's number 5. Again, I get a little more information by clicking on this link. And I can try to find this play in a book at the library. There are a couple of options here. In this case, this play appears in two different works. One is called Collected Plays and Writings on Theater. The other is the Collected Short Plays of Thornton Wilder. And I've already actually checked our catalog. I've cheated a little bit. So I know that neither of these books happens to be in print at our library. But I do know that it's available in this new database that we have called 20th Century North American Drama. So if you'll bear with me for just a moment, I'll demonstrate how that works. I'm going to go back here on this tab to that list of communication arts databases and scroll down just a little ways here to 20th Century North American Drama, and I'll click on that link and click the Connect button, and here I go. Again, you'll be prompted to log in if you haven't done so already. This is the 20th Century North American Drama database, and I have several options for actually browsing. I can browse by the author, the production title, theater, subjects. I can also do a specific find by author, keyword search. I'll just take a moment here to demonstrate a couple of those options in more length here. I'm going to do a search here on productions. And what I should see in a moment here will be an alphabetical listing of all of those productions in this database, starting with numbers. I said about 1,400 are in full text, and it actually references, it has some information, some limited information for almost twice as many play productions. Again, in alphabetical order, and I can browse this particular list. Since I'm starting in the numbers, I'd have a long way to go. I'm going to click on Find instead to do a keyword search. Running really slow this morning. Sorry about that. Here we go. And now I've got a search form where I can plug in some more exact details, such as the author and so on and so forth here. Let's do Wilder and click on search. Here we go. And I've got information on Thornton Wilder, the 37 published plays that are in this database. I think if you click on Thornton Wilder, you'll get some biographical information. If I click on the 37 published plays, then I'll see that list of his productions that I can browse on here. This is kind of what I mean by the clunkiness of the interface. It's been a little bit slow. It's not particularly attractive to wrestle through, but it does provide a lot of full-text play scripts within here. And if you scroll down just a little ways, number 12 in this list of results is The Flight into Egypt. And if I click on that link, it does mention here the Collected Short Plays of Thornton Wilder, Volume 2. And now I've got additional links. I can view a list of the characters and a link for the single act of this particular production. I'll click on that link, and just like that, now I've got the full text of that particular play script. As I said, it's not particularly attractive or easy to work through, so if you have any questions about wrestling through this database, it is a new database. I've had some time to try to navigate its quirks and so on and so forth. But I'd be happy to help you with that if you're finding this to be a cumbersome way to find some full text of a play production. Any question about the 20th century North American drama? I know I showed a couple of different search screens there, and there was a little bit of a lag time. I used the find search form to do a more precise search by author. You can also browse by subjects. Actually, if I go back here, I'm going to go back to the home page here for this database. Tables of contents. I'm going to click on subjects here. Hopefully this will come up a little bit quicker. You'll get a feel of just how they've tried to index and organize this database. So if you're looking for theatrical productions on absent fathers, for example, or alcoholism, they've really done a great job of breaking down this list into very fine categories instead of the broader subject headings that I think Play Index might utilize. So there's just a lot of helpful subject headings in here. It's a very long list, obviously, if I'm still working through the A's here. Alien life forms. I'm just going to click on this for laughs here just to see what this looks like. There are 9 titles in that particular subject category there. And they list the titles, the characters, the cast list, Whirligig. I'll click on, I'm going to look at the play details for Ice Time here on number 4. Again, I don't like how some of these links are labeled. If you want to get to the full text, sometimes there's a little bit of searching involved on these links. I wish there was a link that just said full text here. I mean, it's something that would be very helpful. But now here I'm getting into something that I think looks like it'll be more promising for getting that full text here on this particular production, the act and the list of characters and so on and so forth. No question. Oh, okay, sorry. All right. So that's just a very quick demonstration of 20th century North American drama. That'll be a great resource. We're excited about it because it really supplements what we have in print at the library, and we hope that'll be an asset to you as well at home, the distance education students, that you'll have access to a much broader range of play scripts than even what we have in print through these different anthologies. So I've taken a few minutes to look at that database. Again, helpful for finding play scripts. I'm going to go back now to our list of communication arts databases and talk about another database that's really more geared to finding criticisms and scholarly journal articles in a wide array of the performing arts. And under the journal articles section here, if you'll scroll down just a little bit, I have a database called International Index to the Performing Arts. This is one of our bread and butter databases for the comm school, for CTV, and for the theater students. I'm going to go ahead and click on that link and then click on Connect at the top. And the reason it's such a great database is because, again, this has a lot of full-text articles built into it, a lot of scholarly journal articles included in this database. And as a starting point, you do have a quick search form at the very top, kind of a Google-like type of search option. But if you'll actually use one other link to start your search for research, I would recommend using this Search Articles link on the left side. Click there on Search Articles, and the reason why is you'll get a lot more options to narrow down the scope of your search. You can zero in on full-text articles only, for example, or zero in on peer-reviewed scholarly journals if you want to limit your search that way. Of course, there are other options down here to limit by date range and so on and so forth. That's one benefit of using that Search Articles link in the menu here. The other benefit will be, we'll see in a minute, in how those search results are displayed. You actually get some extra filtering options that the quick search does not afford you. So, how did we get to this screen here? From the database list? Okay. Did you get this far? Not yet. Okay. Okay, journal articles under International Index to the Performing Arts, IIPA for short. That's also listed on your handout there as one of those key full-text databases to keep in mind. And then we'll click on Connect and we'll get bounced into there. Yeah. And then finally, Search Articles. Okay, and I'm going to do a search here on keyword search, again in parentheses, indicating that I'm searching for this exact phrase, Anna in the tropics, and click on search. This was a Pulitzer Prize winning play just a few years ago. And this is coming up a whole lot quicker than the other databases so far. I'm getting 95 results now on this keyword search for Anna in the tropics. And you'll see, again, a brief citation of each of those articles. The article author, for example, this first one, Jason Ramirez. The article title. The journal that particular article appeared in. And, of course, the publication information, such as the volume number and issue number, date, and the page number here as well. Notice, too, that, again, boy, a lot of these results, I'm seeing full-text links. There's a full-text with kind of a document or a page icon. That would be just a plain HTML version of that article. But there's also the PDF version available for many of these articles. And given a choice between the two, I would recommend, again, using the PDF so you get page numbers, any pictures, and related charts or diagrams that may have been included with that article. Look at all this full text here. Not till I hit number 12 and 13 here toward the bottom of this first page of results do I start to see some articles that don't have those full text links. What I see instead are these icons that say article linker, and if you take a moment to click on those, you can pick on any of those, 12, 13, or 14 if you like. What will happen is another window should pop up here in your browser indicating whether we have that particular article in full text, maybe not through IIPA, but through a different database. In this case, this article from 2003 that appears in Backstage West is available in a database called Factiva. And so if I click on that link, ideally, I will be taken directly to that article within Factiva. Factiva isn't always perfect about getting me to the exact article, but we'll see if it comes through in this particular case. Really depends on the journal. Yeah, no results in this case. It doesn't mean it's not in Factiva, but I might have to take a step back here and instead come at this by searching Factiva a little different way, or by asking a librarian for assistance to get that full text article. So if this page looks familiar, hopefully it should. It's tapping right back into our journal finder and trying to match a citation within one database and match it against another database that should have the full text. Yes, ma'am?
I'm having a hard time knowing how you got here.
Okay.
That little article.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. It doesn't appear on every citation. I'll close those tabs here. But the ones that, as I mentioned up here at the top, quite a few of these articles have full text right within the database of IIPA. Again, if I click on full text for HTML, I'll start seeing this is a very, very short article from Variety, which makes sense. I've got full text right here within this database, but there are some articles, I'll pick on maybe a different one here. There are some other articles here that do not have full text within this database. The article linker icon basically helps bridge that gap and suggests any other databases that our library subscribes to that may have full text access.
Okay, I don't have that graphic on my computer.
Is that not coming up there on your, when you click on that button?
I don't have that button.
Oh, it's not showing up at all in your results?
Did you just search for Anna in the tropics?
That's right. I used quotation marks to do a phrase search. Okay, that might make a difference in the type of results you're seeing there. Yeah. Okay. There may be some other articles coming up without that icon at all. And here's an example of an article from Conjunto Journal that none of our other databases have in full text, this would be one that we would need to request through interlibrary loan. And there is actually a shortcut link here to access interlibrary loan through ILLiad and get at that full text article. Right down here. And now I'll be prompted to log into ILLiad. I'll demonstrate that again in a few minutes. I want to try to stay focused here on the IIPA database instead. Let me see if I come up with any other articles here that maybe have full text result. There's just a lot of full text coming up right within the database itself, which is a great problem to have. Here's, I'm looking at now number 31 in this list of results from the Dramatist. Oops, sorry about that. I'll click on that article linker. Still getting no results on that particular journal. So that's another one I would have to use interlibrary loan. But a lot of these are coming up with full text right in the database. So that's a very encouraging sign. Now if I scroll back up to the top, you'll see some other options here that I wanted to mention to you. By using the search articles option in this menu, you'll also have the benefit of filtering your results by these other options, including document type. This is one of my favorite filters because I could zero in on articles that gave favorable theater reviews or mixed reviews or even unfavorable reviews. If I click on any of those links, I can quickly then scope my results to just those two articles that are flagged with that particular topic or heading, if you will. These particular articles apparently didn't give very good reviews for Anna in the Tropics, in spite of the fact that it won a Pulitzer Prize. So kind of interesting. The first one there is available in full text in HTML and PDF. Here's another one from Backstage West, again, which, again, if I hit that article linker button, will pop up and probably tell me Factiva has that particular article, according to our journal finder. Yeah. So, for some reason, this little filter box will not show up if you do the quick search. That's, again, why I'm going to recommend use search articles instead. You'll get a few extra bells and whistles that can help narrow down your search results along the way. And I'll click Remove Filter just to drop back to my full list of articles. You may have already noticed here on this list of results, there is a checkbox so I can check all of the results or selected articles along the way that are most relevant to my research topic. I'll scroll back up to the top here and go to Marked List, and now I've got just those 3 articles that I'm interested in. And now I can batch email all those, print them, or download them, or even save it to a personal archive. You can create an account here. I'll click on Save to My Archive. You can create a free account within this database that lets you save search results and searches at no charge, and you can come back into it later on from any internet-connected computer. So that option is available to you as well. Go back here to my marked list. The download option also gives you the ability to export those 3 citations that I had flagged to a citation management program. Maybe some of you have used EndNote in the past. RefWorks is a citation management tool that we provide free of charge to you. It's a web-based tool, meaning you can access it from any internet-connected computer. And the beauty of RefWorks is that it will take those citations that you import and very quickly, within a few clicks of a mouse, generate a complete MLA bibliography for your paper. So, I mean, that just, yeah. I'm getting applause here. That, yeah.
You still have to take the test.
Yeah. And RefWorks won't help you with that, but it can help.
Like learning addition and using a calculator.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Great analogy there. And RefWorks isn't perfect. As with any online tool, it always helps to proofread, technology. If you put garbage in, you can get garbage out. So that does happen sometimes. But RefWorks can make a lot of that easier, particularly thinking ahead to your thesis projects down the road in another year or two here. So that's a quick overview of International Index to Performing Arts. I'll go back here to my marked list. Are there any questions before I move on? I know that I'm hitting a lot of different features within this database. I'm happy to repeat any of these steps for you. But on your handout, just highlight that, check mark International Index to the Performing Arts. That's, like I said, one of these bread and butter databases for the comm school, for cinema, television, and for our theater students, because there are a lot of great scholarly journals in here and a lot of full text, which make it just a tremendous resource. I can't recommend it more highly. It's probably, if you had to start with one database, this would be it. So I can't recommend it more highly. I'm not seeing any questions at this point. We're coming up on 5 minutes to 11 here. So I'm going to move on here and just briefly touch on a couple of other topics here. I'll take a break from the web browser for a moment and just mention here a couple of resources. Those of you maybe looking ahead already, trying to think about your MFA thesis. I know that's not this semester, but that's coming up down the road. I wanted to mention a couple of resources that are available for you. First would be a database that's called Dissertations and Theses. It's listed on our A to Z list of databases on the library website. Look under the D's for Dissertations and Theses. Just literally thousands of theses and dissertations from universities all across the United States and Canada, going back to 1861. It includes full text for those theses, typically going back to the early to mid-1990s. So it's a wonderful resource, particularly for our distance students. If you want to just get a flavor for how other MFA students have approached a particular topic in theater studies or a particular character or production, that's a great resource to keep in mind. Again, that's listed on our databases page. The other thing I wanted to mention actually shows up on this handout, this kind of salmon-colored handout that I gave to each of you here in the class. This is a list of some of the print resources that is available at the Regent University Library's reference collection. I won't have time, obviously, to go through all of these, but just keep in mind that not everything is necessarily online. If you're looking for helpful information that predates particularly the early or mid-1980s in terms of reviews and criticisms, a lot of the best stuff is actually still in print, and some of these print tools will come in very useful for those types of research topics. On the last page of this handout, and also on this PowerPoint slide, I want to point out that we have also print copies of the theses published by previous graduates of Regent University's Comm School. And that's on the second floor. It's a specific collection of bound volumes of their theses. And there are two different call number areas within that particular section. This one relates to pretty much the ones in the theater program, the MFA theses, LD865.C425. And there's also a section for television and cinema. There's a little bit of overlap there, obviously, between the two disciplines. So I wanted to mention both of those. It's great if you just want to head up there and maybe shelf browse some of those and see how other students have formatted their theses and get an idea for maybe even how you might want to arrange or organize your thesis at this point.
So will all our theses, well, I'm sorry.
No.
Did you have your hand
Oh,
up?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Okay. So it is true that all of our theses will be bounded when we finish?
Exactly. That's one of the requirements for completing your thesis is that we'll get at least one, if not two, hard copies at the library. One will go into this general collection that anybody can check out, a copy from our second floor. The other hard copy goes into our archives, which is a more protected, environmentally controlled area. And yet a third copy will go, if you so choose, and most students do choose to provide this. A third copy will be digitized and go online into that dissertations and theses database. You do have the option to opt out of that, so it's not available in full text online. But most of our students find that they want to encourage and contribute to a scholarship by building that massive database. Yes?
Is there a price on how much you would specifically pay, or is that already included?
I believe that's already included in your thesis. Yeah, that's not an additional charge. I think that's all built in, the binding charges, yeah. There's more information about that on the library webpage that I can pull up for you maybe after the class. I can't quote you the exact fees on that, but yeah, I think that's all rolled together. Yeah.
And
Hannah,
how do
yeah.
we access the dissertations and thesis database that's online?
Sure. I'll go back here, go back to the browser here, and actually the quickest way there, I'll go to the library homepage, and under Research Tools, I'll go to the list of databases, and under the Ds, there are actually two links here. One is for dissertations and theses. The first one, that's the one that will search most universities across the continent here, the much broader list. There is a second link here for dissertations and theses, Regent University, and that link is configured to just zero in on obviously those theses that have been published by students here at Regent or previously CBN University. So if you want to narrow your scope that way, you can do that as well. So that's on our list of databases, the 100 and some databases that we have access to. So coming up here on 11 o'clock, and I'm going to go back for just a moment here again, just to kind of retrace my steps to the list of communication databases. I'm back at the library homepage. Communication and Arts, database, or databases in Communication and Arts. And just briefly, I'll mention a couple of other resources here that I think would be of interest to you. I did not have time, unfortunately, to get into this database called Literature Resource Center. That's a great resource if you're looking for criticisms of particular playwrights or other authors. You might just flag that Literature Resource Center. I'll just do a very quick search here to give you a feel for what that looks like once I connect. Maybe just follow along on the screen here instead of typing along. I'll do a quick search here on Thornton Wilder again as an author search. And what I'll get now are a number of tabs here at the top. All of these, if you can imagine, each of these are biographies about Thornton Wilder that appear in different scholarly works. The Dictionary of Literary Biography, for example. So there's a lot of biographical information. If I click on the second tab, now I'm getting into criticisms and overviews of their work that appear in different sources, including, here's one from Modern Drama, one from a book here, The Plays of Thornton Wilder. Additional bibliographies, still more resources. Often these are web pages or other related. Here's one from Masterpiece Theater even, a link to pbs.org, where I would assume you could probably actually view a streaming production of Our Town. There's a historical timeline that kind of puts his life into context with other literary movements. And then finally, one of the most important tabs here is this MLA International Bibliography. And here you'll get still additional links to articles in scholarly journals, at least citations. These won't be full text in this database, but there are links to find the full text that'll take you back out to our journal finder. I'll pick on American Drama here and just see where maybe that shows up here in our results. Oh yeah, we've got several databases that would have this particular article on Wilder's works, Academic One File, and 3 other databases, including International Index to the Performing Arts. What a surprise. So that shows up there as well. So that's a very quick introduction to Literature Resource Center, I should say. But do add that to your toolbox if you're looking for criticisms and reviews. That'll be another helpful resource. With that, I'm going to switch back to my PowerPoint and just kind of wrap up here. I've already talked about some of the print indexes in the reference collection. One other database I'll mention that's a little bit outside the scope of communication and arts, it's called the ATLA database, ATLA. That shows up on our database list under the A's. A lot of our divinity students spend a great deal of time in ATLA, as you might understand, because it covers a lot of theology, philosophy, and religious journals. But it's interesting how often, okay, thank you. But it's interesting how often other topics from communication arts will show up in that database. So I do want to mention that as well. Iliad, that's a great resource to keep in mind. I'll demo that after we finish our tape here on how to sign up for an Iliad account to do interlibrary loans. Finally, RefWorks and Zotero, I want to put in a plug on September 25th over at the Ordinary in the Fountain View Room. 12 o'clock noon to 1 p.m. We'll be doing a special workshop on how to use RefWorks and another tool called Zotero to manage your citations. Totally free. We'll be providing pizza, first come, first serve. So if you can, just jot that in your calendar. It's on your handout as well. September 25th, a Thursday, 12 noon, free pizza, and learn about RefWorks and Zotero. And finally, just want to open it up for any other questions. We'll be wrapping up our video here for the online students. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me by phone, by email, or instant messenger. And with that, I just want to thank everyone for your attention today. We'll open it up for questions. And I'll ask for your cooperation, too, on this library survey as well. Thank you very much. God bless you.